Welcome back. Calling the meeting back to order, and we are about to introduce our next speaker, or I am about to introduce our next speaker. Distinguished Toastmaster Rhonda Green has been involved with Toastmasters since 2006. She's fully completed 6 Legacy DTM awards, 2 Pathways DTM awards, and is on the verge of completing her 3rd Pathway DTM with a year of district service as the District 8 Division F Director. When Pathways was introduced to District 16 on February 13, 2018, Rhonda jumped at the opportunity. She began teaching educational sessions on pathways at the Tulsa June 18 TLI. For the last 8 years, she has served as a base camp manager and facilitated pathways educational sessions for multiple districts, including Pathways Basics, the Pathways Road to DTM, and How to Be an Extraordinary Base Camp Manager. Welcome our District 16 past District Director, Rhonda Green, the 2023-2024 District 8 Director-elect, as she presents, It Is Life, or is it Pathways? Rhonda Green.
Good morning, everybody. It is so wonderful to see you out there. And I love how they have everything set up to where I can see you as well as you can see me. So with a show of hands, how many people in that audience get ready to do that after assessment for Toastmasters? And it says, I know how this relates to my real life. Have any of you ever wondered exactly what did that mean? I see no hands, so all of you all are intelligent. So there is no reason, all of you already know the answers. So why are you here today? You're here today because today we're going to talk about exactly how, and when I say we, I mean we, exactly how Toastmasters relates to real life. You see, if you know how it relates to real life, then that gives you a reason for doing that project. So first, I'm going to give you a few examples on how I have used pathways in my real life. Let's start out from the very get-go. That icebreaker speech. You don't know how many times I have been asked, tell me a little bit about yourself, especially for an interview. People want you to tell about yourself. And if you're not ready, you're wondering, what is it that they really want to know? For an interview, my name is Rhonda Green. I've been a structural liaison engineer since 1980. Whew, that's a long time. And I've had many experience, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because of Toastmasters and my impromptu speaking practice, I can come up with a story 2 to 3 minutes, 5 to 7, 18 if I have to explain to someone who I am. You have to understand when they ask you that question, do they want to know where you were born, how many sisters and brothers you had, when you went to elementary school and what you did? No, that is not what they're looking for when they ask you that question. And in our Toastmasters clubs, when we're asked that question, we can explain it any way we want to. Let's go to the big daddy, the High Performance Leadership Project. I've used the HPL on my job. I got this project to where we had 300 documents that we had to switch from one digital platform to a new digital platform. I used the scales. I already had a team. All I needed was one Toastmasters on my guidance committee to make it happen. No problem. First thing I had to do is I had to learn the new system and how to create documents in that new system. Because as the lead of the project, I had to teach other engineers. Now, it is a total different situation when you're teaching another engineer than when you're teaching any other individual in the work. You're talking about somebody that's hard-headed, stubborn, and really does not want to be on a team. Then you're talking about an engineer, any engineer. But I use that HPL project to give them decoration, to give them direction, to give them support, to monitor what each engineer was doing. Each engineer would be assigned 20 documents at a time because you see, we were still working full time in our jobs and we were doing this on the side. We had 6 months to get it done. 6 months. That's a lot of man hours and a lot of dollars in engineering dollars. We were able to complete that project in 3 months because I used the skills, the tools in that HPL project to get it done. That was awesome. That was the first time I used an HPL project. Now, the last time I used it, you all know during the pandemic, I lost my job in Tulsa and had to find another job. Wow, that was really an exciting time for me. Fortunately, I had one interview and I got a job with Boeing in St. Louis. There was a little difficulty. They would only move my belongings from one location. They did not know that I had two 20 by 20 storage units in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, little bitty city between Hope, Arkansas and Little Rock. I said, perfect HPL project. I used those documents to set up my timeline, set up my costs. How much was it going to cost for a U-Haul? How much was it going to cost for my team to go with me to sort through everything in those 2 units? How much was it going to take for me to get a team from U-Haul to come load it in Arkadelphia? And what it was going to cost me to get a team to unload the truck in a storage room in Oklahoma. I had all of it planned out. And just having it planned out made it easier for me to deal with the obstacles and the problems that occurred. We got down to Arkansas with no problem. But when we opened up those storage units, looks like 50% of my items, all of my furniture was damaged. The little seal at the bottom of the storage unit had deteriorated over the 20 years that stuff had been in storage. And so I no longer needed a team from Arkansas to come in. I no longer needed a 26-foot truck. I broke that down to a smaller truck, canceled that service. And my team that came with me and the person that I was paying to clean up everything out of the storage I left, we went through all of that in one night with the headlights from a truck and the headlights from the U-Haul looking to the storage units. I mean, it was 9:30 p.m. by the time we finished, but we did it all at one time. We loaded it up. I canceled the team to unload the truck. One of my friends had also been laid off from his job. I said, you want to make some money? He said, sure. I paid him to come help me unload it. I had a dolly. All we had to do is get the boxes on the dolly and I could roll it anywhere. But we got it done. Instead of it costing me $4,000 to get that entire project completed, broke it down to $1,200. Woohoo! That was a win for me, especially without having a job. You see, when they say HPL project, it does not have to be a Toastmasters project. It is just a project where you will need an action team to do the work. Anything could be an HPL project. Now let's get specific to Pathways. Pathways has this project. It's an elective project, level 3. It's called Preparing for an Interview. Who knows when you're going to have to prepare for an interview? God knows. When Pathways started in 2018, I didn't know that in 2020, I was not going to have a job. I was so fortunate. I went into my club, I practiced this. Toastmasters has a list of questions for the person to ask you in this faux interview. My person was an engineer also. He asked me questions, but he didn't ask me a single question on that list. He had looked at my resume, looked at the job that I was trying to interview for, and came up with some new questions. You talking about impromptu practice. It was awesome, really awesome. I even answered that question. Well, we have several applicants who have equivalent experiences to yours. So why should we hire you? And yes, I used that time to pat my own back, blow my horn, because that was my opportunity. If I didn't do it, nobody else was going to do it for me. Got the call to schedule this interview. It was going to be on WebEx. I've used Zoom, Microsoft Teams, a lot of programs, but never WebEx. We called in, we got to talking. There were 5 managers on that call. I could see them. They could not see me. But when they asked that first question, as nervous as I was, only one interview out of over 300 jobs I had applied for. You know how important that was to me. They said when I started talking that I sounded like a chipmunk. I guess I was very nervous. And I said, okay. They said, Rhonda, shut off the WebEx and just call in. I was so nervous. I could not even get my computer to shut off. So I said, okay. I abandoned the computer, went into another room and got on the phone. They would ask me a question, I would answer it, and I would hear silence. Do you know how nervous that makes you when you hear nothing at all? And I said, well, I guess I messed this up. One of the guys turned his speaker on and they were just laughing their behinds off. I said, okay, I'm good with that. I'm getting a reaction. And I did get that job offer. Woohoo! Unfortunately, they offered me less money that I had been making in Tulsa, less money, and wanted me to move 400 miles for less money. That wasn't going to work for me. So then I thought about negotiating the best outcome, also a Pathways elective project. I asked the young lady that was coordinating everything, I said, is this a job offer open for negotiation? She said, yes, but first let me explain to you why they offered what you offered. She said, they based the salary they offered you on the salaries of the other persons at the same level. I said, huh? I said, well, they interviewed me for a mid-level position, but they offered me a senior level position at a mid-level price. Now, I didn't say I wasn't going to take the offer. I just asked if it was open for negotiation. She says, send us a counter offer. I already had it ready before I even talked to her. I sent her the counter offer. I gave her in one page the things that I had done as a senior engineer, as in hiring people, firing people, going through the resumes, training peer engineers, working on different projects and saving the company money. Within 2 days, of course, when I put in that offer, I said, I want 5 to 8% more than my current salary, not what they offered me, but my current salary. With no problem, they gave me that 5%. You see, when you negotiate with someone, the lowest cap is the lowest thing you're willing to accept. And the highest cap is the most that you would like to have. Again, just an example of using a Pathways project to get what I need. Building a social media presence. All of those Gen Xers and Gen Y, Zers on their cell phones, they need a social media presence. Not necessarily. Between 2020 and 2021, I published 3 books. One of the best ways to market your books is on social media. When I started, I had a following in Facebook of like 500 people, but on Instagram, I was brand new to Instagram. I had to figure out a way to build my social media presence. So when I got ready to sell my books, I had an audience. That is when I developed Cooking with Rhonda. I would do a little short video, show how to repurpose leftovers, how to take a box of Zatarain's cooking mix and create it. The video that I have that has over 5,000 hits is how to bake a potato, cook a can of chili, pour the chili on the baked potato and sprinkle cheese on the top to make it pretty. I don't know. The video was very short, but for some reason, that's the most popular video. But because I did those little videos, my following now is over 5,000 people. Yes, it's not in the millions, but it beats being 250 people. And when I started marketing my books with little short podcasts, little short videos, reels is what they call it. I had to learn the terminology. Yes, I'm over 60. I didn't know. I had to figure out how to make it work. Then all of a sudden, my sales on Amazon.com just started to improve. Now I'm practicing on how to do podcasts because a radio show in Florida, Joy on Paper, has asked me to do podcasts showing people how to do interviews on radio. The young lady told me, she says, I interviewed with this very well-known author. And she said, I heard the toilet flush 3 times during the interview. I went like, really? You don't know how to mute that phone before you hit the button? Oh, you go and you do that after you finish the interview? Sometimes since we're in this virtual world, people forget that you can hear everything that's going on in your background. So I'm doing podcasts with that. Something I never thought that I would do. Not only am I doing the podcast, I'm getting paid to do the podcast. Let's pick an even simpler project. Connect with your audience. I am getting ready to turn all 3 of my existing books into audio books. And yes, I'm still using pathways. In some of my clubs, if those of you who are members of the club, you all have heard me read one of the stories or a chapter out of my book and get feedback on what you think. Now Toastmasters has this program called Udl or Udly or whatever that is. And I go in and I practice using Udly until I get it perfect. Then I do recording of that chapter. That's how you create an audio book, chapter by chapter by chapter. There is not a single path project in our program that does not relate to real life, but we have to think about it, look at it and say, how is this going to help me? How is it going to help me improve my skills? When in my life in the future am I going to use it? Maybe I don't know right now. So maybe I may download that full project. And then if it ever comes up, I've already paid for it. I got it. I can go through and look at those materials. Public relations strategies. I have used those for doing an anniversary event for my parents, for celebrating my 60th birthday. Who's my target audience? What I'm going to send out to them? What message do I want them to have? For any event, you can use PR strategies, and it does not have to be a Toastmasters event. So we're going to do something a little bit special, a little different today. You see that there is a lectern up to the front of the room. I just want you to come up to the front of the room and pick a project. whatever project it is, and I can show you how it can be used in real life. So I'm going to share something with you for a moment while people are getting up the nerve to come up to the front of the room. This is leadership development. I just picked a path. This is from the Pathways Path catalog. This was the original level 1, the icebreaker, evaluation and feedback, research and presenting. It was revised in October of last year. That's the icebreaker, writing a speech with purpose, introduction to vocal variety and body language, and then the evaluation and feedback. But they took that research and presenting project and made it an elective for level 3. So nobody has any questions? Come on now. You all are supposed to be helping me. This is a workshop where I don't do all the work. All right. You won't pick one? Oh, yes. I got somebody to the lectern. Awesome. I'm listening. Turn around. Come back up there.
Hello, Miss Rhonda Green.
Give me your name first.
Sandra Haynes.
Hello, Sandra.
Yes, ma'am. So I don't have a paper up here to pick anything.
Just pick one that you're aware of.
Pick something that I'm aware of. You know what? I'm planning a cruise on Disney for my family next year for 2024, August 2nd through the 5th, 2024.
Let's see. I am going to share real quick. That's why I had picked the project. Let's see. Planning a cruise. Oh, this one is leadership development, but it's planning and implementing. You're going to plan that project and you're going to implement it. By plan it, that means with Disney Cruise Lines, you're going to go in, check how much it's going to cost. If you were doing a bigger cruise where you had 16 or so people going, I don't know how many people are going with your family, then
About 35, 40 people.
awesome. You need to check out planning and implementation because you need to contact Disney, get that cruise rate for a group of 35 people. 35 people is equivalent to 16 cabins. If you go through it that way, they will set it up as a group trip for your group. You all will all have dinner together. You will get discounts because you have so many people going at one time. That will be part of your implementation to get the cost to share to the people. Then you will use your public relations strategies to send the information out to everybody in the group. Then you will check with them and say, okay, this is the day we need to fly in. This is the day when we need to fly out. When we get there, because I'm assuming that you're going to have to travel to either Florida or Texas to get on a ship. Have you all determined which one?
Florida, Cape Canaveral.
Cape Canaveral. All right. To get to Cape Canaveral, you have to fly into Orlando and take transportation from Orlando to Cape Canaveral. What you're going to do. Yes, that's Florida. I'm a cruise queen. I know all about cruise. And when you ask that question, there's people in the audience that knew that. I've been on 2 cruises this year already. But what you're going to do is you're going to see if Walt Disney Cruises has transportation from the airport to the cruise terminal. Once you're in disneycruises.com, you're going to look at the transportation costs to the pier and back from the pier, because the people in your group need to know how much that's going to cost per person also. It's going to be a lot cheaper than trying to rent cars and get there, this, that, and the other. That's information they need to know. For those that may be coming from California, they're going to need to know some of the prices of hotels near the port because they're going to have to come in a day early because of the time zone change. Things like that. With that planning and implementation, you'll be able to go and plan that entire project. Get those little details, that information that the group going need to know. I know it because I have planned 5 group cruises since 2007. And right now, I'm looking to hire one from my cousin for the other side of her family, for the Jackson side of the family. They're talking about 87 people going. Oh,
Mm.
yes. And because I am the planner, I get to go for free. I don't have to pay a single dime. We like that. Only thing I have to do is pay for my transports. But
I
when you're
love
doing
it.
a cruise, I'm gonna let you talk in just a second. When you do that group cruise, they also set you up to where you have dinner in an area where all of you all are together. And then if you want time on the ship to have, maybe use the disco area or the library area for a special event for your family, you can book and do that also. It's just going through it, planning it, taking it step by step, and following it through. Then when you finish it, you come back to your Toastmasters Club and you let them know how you planned and implemented that wonderful event. You had a question you were going to ask.
No, I was just gonna comment that was a lot of information. You know what? I'm gonna call you too after this so you can help me, right? Because
All
this will
right.
be my sixth cruise, and it's the first of some. So it's my sixth, but the first of some. So I need to connect with you. I know you're busy writing books and podcasting. I would love to connect with you to get more information.
All right. Theo Ross has my phone number. He's in the audience. Theo, give Sandra my phone number, okay? And give me a call, right? That's
Yes,
no
ma'am.
problem.
Thank you. Miss
Okay, thank
Rhonda.
you. Does anybody else have a question? Pick a project. It doesn't matter which project, okay? Don't make me call you out and say, Walt, come up to the front and give me a project, okay? Because I will call you.
Call my name.
I hear you.
Did you call my name?
Yes, I can hear you.
You said come up here and give you a project, right?
Well, you can. Walt is next after you.
I'm at Toastmaster
Walt
Walt.
Hansman. Yeah,
Hey girl, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good, good. So I've been asked to do a presentation on speaking skills for introverts. I need to put together a custom PowerPoint. So I think maybe presentation skills might help me. Do you think you can help me out?
Oh, yes. What you're going to do, the project that will help you the most, be prepared for that, is using presentation software. Okay. Now, there's a cute little advanced trick that I learned from Ray Willis in District 16. Put all your information in a PowerPoint. Leave this corner right here blank. And when you get ready to share, you share advanced PowerPoint as your background. The PowerPoint comes up and your face is right here in this corner, and you can move your face wherever you want it. So the audience can see your PowerPoint and they can see, they can see your PowerPoint and they can see you too, instead of you being in a little bitty window up in the corner. That way they can see your gestures, see your excitement, see as you are explaining the bullet points that you have on the PowerPoint. Repeat that, bullet points, not the entire project, just the bullet points that you want to explain, and use that presentation software. That is a very good example. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
Rhonda.
no problem. Theo, did you have a project?
Dave Ross says.
Or anybody wants to come up? Looks like I saw somebody that I was familiar with.
Hi, Rhonda.
Hello.
It's your favorite parliamentarian. How you
And I
doing?
need a parliamentarian for District 8. Go ahead.
All right. Suppose, you have an engineering mind and engineers solve problems, and that is really valuable. But what if you're more right brain than left brain? You want to start something to encourage people to use their artistic skills, and you have a very busy life, and you're trying to juggle life in there. How would, I'm asking for a friend and she knows. how, how would pathways benefit?
Oh my God, that is such a good one. And I am going to go to the visionary communication path because you have a vision for something specific that you would like to do. Okay. You develop your vision. That's one of the projects where you're developing all of the information, putting your ideas, putting your goals on what you want to accomplish. You develop that vision, like my vision was to become a published author. I use this entire path to publish my first book. Then all I had to do is just do the same thing again, again, and again. Develop a communication plan. What information are you going to communicate to that audience? Okay. Sometimes you're going to communicate change, but developing your vision is the key one. That project requires 2 speeches. It requires the first speech when you're saying, this is what my vision is. Then it gives you tools to help develop your vision and how to put that project together and put everything together and actually do your presentation. Then you come back after the presentation and you show how you made your vision come true. There's just so many projects that we can use. It's going to be an online presentation, managing online meetings. In your thing, you're going to have some Q&A. That's a level 4 project, question and answer session. Throughout your entire operation of your project, there are many pathways projects that you will be using to make your full vision come true. Did that answer your question, David?
Wait, I want to see, did it answer the question?
Yes.
Thanks, Rhonda. You are awesome, by
It
the way.
makes a difference before you leave. It makes a big difference when a person is going through pathways, when they know how they're going to personally benefit from the project. Are you with me? Does that make sense?
Sure
Yes,
does.
it makes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I have time for one more question because, I can sit up here and talk forever, but I'm only supposed to take 30 minutes. Okay. Does anybody ever have a question? What about while this person is walking up? I'm gonna do a really quickie. Come on up to the lectern, but I'm gonna come on up to the lectern. But I just want you to stand there and look cute. I got one for you, evaluation and feedback. How is that gonna help me in real life? How many of you on your jobs have do those performance reviews to where you get an evaluation and you're told you need to improve in this skill, improve in that skill? That's evaluation and feedback, being given something that you need to correct and then correcting it. All right, now, young lady, give me your name and give me your Pathways project. Oh, now I'm getting a line. We like this. I'm going to talk shorter because we got a longer line. Okay.
Okay, my name is Kim Flanagan,
Hey,
and I am a teacher, a college professor, and I have this situation hypothetically that I have some students, freshmen in my class that just don't want to behave. Now, how can Pathways help me deal with these freshmen?
there is a project called Managing a Difficult Audience. Okay. Now, that project is about people disrupting you while you are speaking. At the same time, some of the skills that you learn in that project show you how to deal with difficult students who are not prepared to learn what they're paying to learn. The same techniques that you would use with a heckler in an audience is the same techniques you would use with these young people to get them on target to get it. Now, this is what I'm going to say to you. There's this movie called Sister Act 2. She says, you know what I'm talking about? If you want to be somebody, You got to get up, you got to stand up, stay up, open up, and pay attention. Okay? That's what you got to do with kids, even though some of these kids are 19, 20, 21 years old. They have not fully developed what their careers are going to be. But to help you as a teacher, do that project, managing a difficult audience, and look at those students as a difficult audience and manage their butts too. All right?
Thank you, fantastic.
Thank you. Like your haircut. Okay.
Okay, we're about to wrap up this session, and thank you, Rhonda. We're gonna have a 10 minutes? 10-minute break.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. I
Okay.
forgot.
I have had a ball. This has been so much fun. Okay.
Rhonda, for that
Yeah.
presentation, I am presenting you from District 16. I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is a flag of Oklahoma, and it's got all the counties on it, and this goes to you. Thank you for.
Thank you.
Your turn.
Thank you so much, everybody. And I hope that you have learned today a different way to look at pathways, a different way to explain pathways to your brand new members so that they dive into it. They say, oh, I'm going to get this from it. I'm going to get this from it. And it will help them complete those goals, which helps your club, which helps the district, and ultimately helps us all. Thank you so much for attending this educational session. Bye, guys.
10 minutes starts now.